Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first race of the 2022 OVKA karting season, taking place out at G&J Kartway in Camden, Ohio. I'm running in the LO206 Masters Heavy class. This is the first heat of a Pea-pick format day. I came out in position 15 with 5 new drivers behind me, but of the regular or the experienced drivers, I am basically got the last pick. So in the second heat, I will start on the pole. Coming around this year, we are allowed to scrub tires. Doesn't look like anybody messed it up. And we are coming around. So with this being the first season, it was a little bit chilly out, or the first race of the season, it was a little bit chilly. I'm going to take it easy on this start. I'm not going to be pushing too hard on anybody. And it's usually turn 1, although a lot of people think it hasn't been lately the big issue turn in these races. It's usually turn 3. So on the first lap, when you come around turn 1, you skip turn 2, you just go straight. So I'm staying back. I'm totally cool with being where I'm at right now. And just as I thought, 2 carts basically block off the whole track, spinning right there. And I was ready, so I just drove straight in the grass. Now it doesn't put me in a good position, but I didn't really figure I would do much better than maybe trying to get up to like, maybe try to crack the top 10. But starting from 15th, that wouldn't have been too bad. And with the Pea-pick, that's not too bad because on the next heat, I would just really need to try to maintain my pole position start, and I would have a probably really good grid position for the final race. So, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I am not racing with Racing for Vets this year. All of my previous videos out of this card, I was racing with Racing for Vets. I decided to try to branch out on my own this year, so I'm driving an older Aero X2. I've got a Ghost Racing motor on there, and I popped out after all that stuff right behind the car I drove last year. That's a Margay Brava right there, and that's one of the new Racing for Vets guys out there getting his first race out here. He has raced in the past, so he doesn't have to rock the big X on the back of his helmet. And he's doing pretty decent, for being pretty fresh on the track. He doesn't know it too well. I think he was able to get out and practice one other time. There is one other Racing for Vets guys, and actually I think he was right behind me. I was looking at my forward-facing camera, but right at the beginning, if you watch my rear-facing camera, with everybody slamming on the brakes, you can see the number 222, I think it was. He goes around with other couple people behind me going around. And again, they were all newer people behind me. They probably didn't necessarily know that turn 3 ends up being somewhat of an issue sometimes on the first lap, and they were caught off guard by the people spinning around. And I also know those Margay Bravas, at least the ones in the Racing for Vets stable. The brakes are pretty touchy. This Aero, you got to stomp on them to get them to really. I can't even. I'm hard pressed to get them to lock up. But I remember driving the Margay last year, and that was a big adjustment for me because you can lock those up in a heartbeat. So I'm trying to mosey on through. I got past the 914 right there. Now, actually, throughout the day, we'd finish the race out, and I think I was usually just a teeny bit faster than him, but not much, like maybe a tenth or two. So we were pretty comparable in speed. As in the 318, I think he was in the same vicinity as well, and he's been faster than me at other races, and I've been faster than him at other races. But I've raced a decent amount with the 318. I've hung around with him and his uncle and did some races with those 2 guys. So I'm hoping I can kind of team up with him, and maybe I can push him past the 24. The 24's got the X, as you can see. And, when they don't have quite as much experience and they're new, they don't really know the line quite as well. They don't know where to pass yet. They're learning. So when you're behind them, it makes it a little bit, you really got to think about it because you don't know where to go. And like right there, I don't know if he was kind of blocking or just taking a weird line into that turn, but he was, the 318 was probably going to try to turn or get under him, and he was not able to do so. And then I ended up slowing up coming up behind him because I had a big head of steam and I had to kind of get off of it, and then they pulled away. And then that allowed the 914 to get next to me all the way down that back stretch and through that that fast corner. So you know, I'm still, like, to me, these are 3 positions right here. If I can get past all these guys here, I'm probably, with the amount of cars that went off track, I could potentially be top 10, which again would not be bad for starting on 15th in a Pea-pick. But we have to get around them. That's the whole thing. So the 318 was able to get around the 24 right there. The 914 gives it a shot. I actually had the speed to probably do it, but the 24, you know, came from the right to the left and shut that on me, so I wasn't able to go through there. But I was able to zip under right there. I don't know why he hung it out on there, but that ended up being, that's pretty much my normal line, so I was able to just keep the hammer down through there. So now I'm feeling pretty confident I can catch up with these 2 guys, and now that, you know, we're able to kind of open it up. The 24, when you look at the times at the end of the day, he was doing pretty good for new, but he was still a second slower than the 2 of us up there. And a second slower, you know, it may not seem like much, but when you're actually on the track, you close up on somebody pretty fast. So the 318 got wide right there, and he slowed down. Then he didn't get his line that he wanted. He was slow there. And I knew I was going to bump him, but I didn't think I was going to bump him hard enough to spin him out. And I thought I was going to give him a nice little boost going forward. And it was just too hard, and I took him right on out. And so I was feeling bad about that coming down through here because, you know, like I said, he's one of the dudes you kind of hang around with out there. And, yeah, you know, everybody else who races out there, you don't like to wreck your buddies. So, you know, my next lap is all sloppy because I'm thinking about that a little bit, and I drove in the grass again, which doesn't do your tires any favors. And you know, until you shake all that grass and debris off, yeah, things are a little slipperier. But I got back in the groove here. Now I think we're on the last lap, and I'm trying to catch up with these guys. And I was able to close down pretty hard right there on that corner. And they hit some lap traffic that, you know, another newer driver. And, you know, he's being safe. He did the right thing. He kind of stayed wide, gave people some room. Didn't do anything that we couldn't predict. It's mainly the big thing. You can't, if you're a newer driver, and you know, people don't mind if you're slow, but be somewhat predictable, so that when you're coming around them fast, you're not knocking the snot out of them. So the 21, I'm pitting with this guy this year, and so I was able to give him a little bump there to try to boost him up right there, and because there was no way I was getting through that wall of carts. So picking a dude, I had to pick my buddy, the 21, and try to give him some love towards the finish line. So the race finishes up, and my buddy, the 318, comes up next to me to see what the hell happened. And I apologized, and all was good. And it's funny, on one of the next races, his uncle hooks him up similarly to how I did it. So, although I didn't see it, that's just the story I got. But anyways, next race I'll be starting on the pole. See you at that one.